So yeah, I'm CTO of ActiveState. We've been around since '97. You may know of things like ActivePerl and ActivePython. Nowadays, a lot of our focus is on Stackato, platform as a service, all built on Cloud Foundry. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the path to Stackato, a bit about how it differentiates, builds upon Cloud Foundry, and where we are. So just a bit of the timeline. We were actually building something, we called it Multipass, but prior to Cloud Foundry's announcement. And in April 2011, evaluated it, made a quick pivot, and then started with a whole new product name, Stackato. And you can see going through a pretty mad development cycle, that actually is missing a whole bunch of releases. It was basically every 30 to 60 days, new versions. And it's great, you know, building on top of Cloud Foundry, we've been able to make a whole brand new 7-figure business and growing with customers in finance, high tech, and defense. And it's PaaS is definitely getting very interesting. And I want to talk a little bit about Stackato 3.0, which is going to be coming soon. But first, you know, there's a lot of features we're talking about, and you want to show a few of these. You might recognize them as we talk about them in CFv2. Well, they're all about the right time frame for actually, they all were first seen in Stackato. So microcloud, Linux containers, that was way in 2011 for us. Groups, now called orgs, and CFv2. So we like to you know, affectionately think that V2 is kind of like Stackato V1. We appreciate everything that's been built up, but we were one of the original partners, the Python tech community lead, and you know, those who've worked in the V1 ecosystem. While it was open source, it wasn't particularly open. So we're looking forward to a lot more engagement in the V2 ecosystem. So again, looking, most of you will recognize that's pretty close to what you would see for a Cloud Foundry diagram. This one has a few features in it that are specific to Stackato, but you know, again, some of the features, and the next one there on the list, the Stackato client, yeah, single file executable, Windows, Mac, Linux. Thanks guys for realizing nobody likes Ruby gems. Komodo integration, which is our IDE, there is already Eclipse integration. Komodo is one of the primary IDEs for PHP, Python, Perl, Ruby users. Then you get some extra features there, SSH and DB shell application access, staging and runtime hooks, support for cron, management console, persistent file system service, LogYard. It's essentially Logregator, except we're probably at a V2 version of it by now. Centralized cluster management, ports as a service, something that replaces UAA, because I think that most people who've had to instantiate UAA would love anything that replaces it. Oracle DB provisioner, stuff like that. What I really want to talk about though is Stackato v3. So I mean, that's all there right now. Let's look a little bit about what's coming. So a few new things in the console is there's new dashboards. So these are completely real time using our rewritten router for high performance. It's all WebSocket, uses Speedy, things like that. This is, you know, interactive, will bounce around those little gauges if you're hammering the system. There's App Store in there, which didn't mention, but again, you can, you know, push button for Jenkins, Bugzilla, whatever you want to do out of the box. Then one of the biggest features is Stackato Timeline. You can kind of think of it, maybe it's Chatter, but for PaaS systems. And it's basically the difference between, you know, Git and GitHub, right? Git, great, you put your sources in it. But everyone likes GitHub because, oh, look, I can comment exactly on this particular line of code, or, hey, I want to make a pull request. Well, in the Stackato Timeline, you can actually say, oh, there's a pushed application. Oh, I need to make a comment. Oh, you didn't set these environment variables. You can give little advisements and other things like that. And you can see in the picture on the left, right, whichever one it is, you know, two people having a discussion around an application. All of that's done real time. So, few more things about V3. You know, we're around, I'm around, you can always find me, so just in order to keep this quick, I won't read these off. but there's plenty more coming. And so I want to get to the last part, the Cloud Foundry ecosystem. So one thing to note is Stackato v3 is based on the CFv2 trunk, so we are working right off the head now. And obviously we have a vested interest in a strong ecosystem. And you know, I must say I'm really encouraged by some of the way Pivotal's really opened things up from where VMware had it stuck in building a real actual open ecosystem. But I do think this really needs to extend to design as well as bug fixes. It's nice to be able to make a pull request for anybody, but there's a lot of aspects of design that, you know, more than one company should be talking about. And that model of open governance is important. You know, there's Oracle claims open governance, so does the Apache Software Foundation, but they totally go about it in different ways. So that was a quick sneak peek of Stackato v3, and with that, say thanks.